Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the mothers out there. Good afternoon to all the mothers, to all our audience that are in England. And good morning to all our friends in Canada and USA. And good evening to all our friends in Southeast Asia. If you do not know me yet, my name is Jade Locke and I am from the UK. And I am a mother. At the same time, I am a digital entrepreneur. I help people start their own online business from scratch. And every Wednesday, we have interview uh, to other mothers, and we talk about motherhood, parenting, teaching, and all sorts of stuff about motherhood. And today we will talk about homeschooling. I was really looking forward to this episode. I because I am homeschooling AJ, so I am really looking forward to this. And our special guest, really special. Without much further ado, mother of two girls, please, to all our audience, help me welcome our guest today, Sasha. Hi, Sasha.
Mhm. Good
How
morning
is
from Canada.
Canada? Yes. Good morning to you there. How is Canada? How's the weather there?
It's starting to cool off, but we do have still some warm days here and there. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. You have two girls, right? And yeah, I was looking forward to this because EJ is 2 years old, and he and I homeschool him. That's why that's why I became digital entrepreneur because I don't want to work anymore. I just want to homeschool my child, and I know that we have lots of audience now that are homeschooling as well. Guys, if you are watching us right now, please leave us a comment or later you can pop in message, you can leave a comment where you are coming from, where you are watching from, and if you have questions then we will get back to you. Okay, Sasha, please tell us about yourself, about your background.
Okay, so like I said, I have two girls, 10 and almost 6. She'll be 6 in October. Ever since I was young, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. My first business that I was planning on opening was a restaurant, which was a huge endeavor. I was in my really early 20s, but it was a passion of mine. And as I was in the process, I was in an accident. I was dragged by a bus. So then I spent about a year not being able to walk and about 5 years learning how to again. So that really drastically changed the course of my life, of course. So that put all my plans as far as career on the back burner. I couldn't work for quite some time. But that's okay because that's the way my life was meant to go. And if it weren't for that, I probably would not have married my elementary school sweetheart and had my
Wow.
two kids.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I've known him through family friends since I think I've had a crush on him since I was about 7.
Childhood, childhood
Yeah.
crush.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, so it changed my life in a happy way, I think,
Mm.
because that's where it took me. And so since then, I've had a couple of businesses. I had one that dealt with like a subscription service,
Mm.
craft project box for kids called Tinker Tote, when my kids were younger. And then currently I have something called the Slumber Fairy, which is like um, I had mentioned earlier, it's a party setup with slumber tents and beds and lights and fantastical, magical, you know, setups for kids' birthday parties.
It's really exciting. So, how do you homeschool your girls?
We unschool, but we use sort of an eclectic version of that.
Mm.
We don't strictly unschool. We also use a lot of games. We also incorporate a lot of nature, so they would call that wild schooling. Um, we are usually part of co-ops and a lot of
Mm.
park meetups and a lot of my girl's very busy and likes to get up to all kinds of things. So we are part of different field trip groups and we go on adventures and a lot of, museums and zoos and hikes and all these kind of things. We usually like to keep pretty busy. This year looks a little different than it normally would because of the restrictions. So we are actually this year using a little bit of creative supplement to follow along with. Uh, that's different for us.
Oh wow, that's really, really interesting. We have an audience that is homeschooling as well, watching us right now. And we have an audience also from Trinidad. Trinidad
Oh,
and
wow.
Tobago. Yeah, because we're all over. Wow. That's really interesting. So you unschool them. Do you follow like structure
No,
or
not at
not at
all.
all? Wow. So
None at
just
all.
whatever comes.
We call it child led, and
Yeah.
we call it inquiry based. And my favorite term is inspired learning. So basically, what that boils down to, we use a democratic type of process. We sit together and we talk about what they're interested in, what their questions are, and we dive into those subjects. And then we kind of just let it roll from there. So, my daughter's very much into ocean life and space and things like that. While my younger daughter is actually very much into the human body and how it works.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so together we just kind of, and then we answer their questions together. And of course, I come up with fun, creative art projects that sort of follow along with that. Or even my kids themselves come up with their own, educational resources. They make their own games. My daughter right now is working on something called the Narwhal Games because our school was named the Flying Narwhal Academy.
That's really, really cool. I have PhD
Mhm.
in education, and we call that child center. And so it's like, yeah, you follow what your child uh likes. For me also, I have like goals that what EJ can learn, but uh, fortunately, fortunate enough that he really likes a lot of things more than what I've expected him to learn. So it's the same with you. It's like as is, whatever his interest is, and so I'll go with that. And right now he 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 was really interested with solar system. He already finished that, and then flags of the world. He already memorized all those. He's just 2 years old, and now he is
Yay!
into yeah he is into periodic table. So he knows all the chemicals and those kind of stuff. That's the
Amazing.
spirit. Yeah, so I'll just follow what he likes. So when he liked the flags of the world, what we did also is make a project like making flags, and we draw and he names and he plays with those. So the same with you. The same with your technique, but because he is 2 years old, we cannot really he cannot really make his own game, but we just play with how we learn, playing and learning while playing. That's what we do. That's really, really cool with you. Your kids, what age did you start like introducing them like ABCD alphabet? How old were they then? Can you
So
remember?
I started honestly as soon as I've always talked to my children as if they were, not a child, but just a human. And my first daughter was actually very, very ahead, and she wanted to she started trying to read at 2. by the time she was 3, she could read independently. My second daughter, completely opposite. She wants nothing to do with anything that involves reading. It's almost agonizing for her. So it just depends on the kid. Every kid is different. Um, my first girl would sit with me for hours, and identify 3D shapes at 2 years old, and memorize them. And she loved all manner of sitting and learning and sorting, and she would focus for so long. But my second one is, like I said, completely the opposite, and her focus only lasts a few short minutes. So it just depends on the learning style of the child. um, so with my second one, I didn't push any of that reading or anything like that. She reads now, but she's still, it's not her favorite thing.
Yeah, so, as a disclaimer, all mothers, we really want to emphasize that every child is different, different from one another, even though they're sisters. Like, we have an audience that my 2-year-old is so active that I have trouble getting him to sit and do activities.
Yes, it's hard when they're so young, and like I said, every kid is so different.
Yeah,
Um, just playing, I mean, crawling around, making animal noises, make it fun, turn it into a game. Or at that young of an age, we really don't need to worry yet about any, solid academic
yeah.
type ventures. Just enjoy, go for hikes, find bugs and discover them.
I
That's a good.
agree with you. I agree with you. I think we have the same principle mindset that go along with your child. Yeah, we also bring AJ to the nature, and when your kids are very very active, like AJ, he cannot really like sit down if he doesn't really like to. If he doesn't want, then he really doesn't want. But like what you've said, in answer to the parent that is asking that, if your child cannot really sit down, then maybe whatever his interest, then go with that, and maybe he can sit down.
Sometimes
And
if they're interested enough, yeah.
yeah, yeah, because he just sounds so active. But if he is interested, he will just sit down for hours and hours. And like what you did, also, I am so pleased that I talked to you because I can see how each grows, and with you also, I can resonate with your experience and the way you teach your child. I've started the same with that EJ. I'm just talking like an adult, like what you did. He started reading when he was 16 months. When 2 years old, he started reading books. The same. So when you talk to your child like an adult, then they would really think. I think maturely, much more mature than their age, right? Yeah. Okay. Um, do you use any like supplemental resources or other educational resources?
This year I'm actually using something only because of the pandemic, of course. We are all sort of a bit cut off from what we would normally be doing. And
Hmm.
normally we would be out with our co-op group. There's a possibility that's starting up again in a month or so, but we're seeing how things go.
Yeah.
And we would normally be out doing a lot of group activities with other kids, and also, sports activities, or like just various, like so many different activities. Usually we're out every day doing something. So I felt like, because they're so busy and because they just want more, more, more all the time, we kind of needed something to help us along the way to fill in those gaps that where we're not going to be out and about. We'll still be doing hiking. We're going for a park meetup later on today with some homeschoolers. We're still going to try as much as possible to get out. but the group thing is harder. So this year we're using something called Blossom and Root.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily a curriculum, it's more of like a guideline. It's like an open-ended invitation um, to creativity. And then there's something called Wild Math that we're checking out this year. Both are really very affordable and they're not very daunting in any way. They're more of a fun, just sort of creative plug-in. Um, yeah, so we're using that as a supplement this year, but we've never done anything like that before. Even though we still don't have a schedule or a set time when we will dive into these things, and I'll literally just use them sort of as an aid.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if just for creative help, I guess, because usually when we're out and about all the time, the researching and coming up with activities is, it's cut to a minimal, like maybe, one activity a day I'm planning and researching. But currently, because of the situation, then it's multiple, multiple, multiple activities a day, and you can get burnout for sure. So I'm I'm using some creative help. Yeah.
I have lots of questions. So first, no, I've asked lots of questions, but go back. Which do you think is better, homeschooling or going to really actual school? Where do you think that they can really learn more?
Um, well, that's a tricky question.
Just
It
based with
on
your experience with your
it
kids
depends.
and as your observation, just your opinion.
Yeah, so I would say for me, my opinion would be it depends on the child. Some children thrive in that environment, but a lot don't. And I know for me, my children weren't thriving there, and I know for me, I felt as though it's very limited. Um, it's very structured, and there's only a certain amount of information being given. And outside of that kind of box,
Yes.
um, if you want to be outside of that box, you're kind of lost in that system.
Yes, yes, right. Have you ever thought of sending them to school or not at all?
My oldest was in kindergarten because when I had, um, like I started schooling her myself when she was very young, as I mentioned, and just because she loved learning. Um, when I had my second, and she was a newborn, my daughter was bored and she's very high energy, and because I was sat with baby a lot, um, she needed something more, and so she, wanted to go to kindergarten. So we sent her every other day, just for fun, basically,
Mm.
and to meet friends and things like that. And then because she had lots of friends, she wanted to attend in grade one, so she did. And then that's when she realized, this isn't what I thought it would be.
Mm.
And then she started, really not enjoying being there. So yeah, so they have delved into school a little bit. They do know, what it's about and stuff. And I remember my daughter, I would ask her every single day in grade one, what did you learn today? And she would just say nothing all the time. Nothing, nothing, nothing. She said there was nothing. Yeah, she said there was nothing because she already learned it all at home and she was advanced.
Yeah, that's really why I am concerned about EJ. That if I will send him to school, he is 2 years old now, so maybe in a year he will be 3.5 years old, and maybe he will get bored, or he will, he will not be interested in learning anymore. So that, yeah, that's my concern. That's my, not really worry, but just my, just thinking about that. Um, do you also give them like online teaching or online resources for them to study online or something like that?
They enjoy certain apps. Like,
Yeah.
there are certain apps they do enjoy. I I'm not 100% strict with the screen time, but I also feel like it's more of like an extracurricular.
Yes.
um, I don't, I, everybody has a different opinion on screens. My opinion probably varies from a lot of unschoolers. Um, I feel like there's the risk, you run the risk of them sort of becoming overstimulated by those devices. And so the rest of the world, when they don't get that instant gratification, it's just not as exciting for them. So I find that when they're spending too much time on there, I try not to like limit them completely. Like I think I would say maybe they spend a half an hour to an hour a day, either gaming or on an educational app or talking video chatting with friends. Um, but further than that, if I give them more time than that, I find they get an attitude problem and they get kind of rangy, like off the wall, and then they seem, disinterested and disheartened
Mm.
by the other things, and then until we get sort of back into nature and go for a hike and things get exciting again, then they refocus and everything's fine again. But I find it happens every time they're on there too long. It just kind of puts a damper on their excitement for learning for other things.
That is exactly 100% what happened to EJ. That is what's happening with him whenever I give him only 1 hour staggered time in a day and beyond that, and especially if you watch a screen YouTube early in the morning, he would really be cranky, surly, whingy, and cry. And so yeah, and yeah, that's exactly also the we go to the woods, we go to the nature to heal him.
Yes.
And so, so it's healing, nature is healing.
Yes. Get that connection back.
Yeah, exactly, that's really right. So how until what age do you plan to homeschool them?
Until they become interested in something else. They have always had the option and always will have the option. If they choose that they feel that that's what they need and want, then they're welcome to go. Um, I I will homeschool them until they decide that they don't want to do it anymore. Yeah.
Is it tiring to homeschool two girls?
No, I don't find it tiring at all. I find it No, I find it exciting. I mean, it's it's a normal motherhood tired, sure. I mean, I'm always busy, but I mean, without them here, what would I be doing? Vacuuming? I don't know. Um, I think I'd rather, be hiking and exploring, and we learn together. Like we're raising butterflies right now, and we do so many interesting and fun things. I learn along the way myself, and it keeps me, crafting and enjoying, and it keeps us all, just enjoying. And I find the regular fatigue, but I don't find it any more difficult than it was while they were in school.
Wow, that's really awesome. I'm so glad to
Mhm.
hear that. I have only one child, but yeah, yeah, sometimes it's hard physically to take care, but the joy is there. And we enjoy when he learned about dwarf planets. It was my first time. I have PhD, but I did not learn that there are dwarf planets. EJ learned about it, and he learned a lot more than us. So I agree with you. Even his dad as well. I think also, yeah, I will homeschool him as long the same with you, as long as he wants to be homeschooled, and we just go with the flow of his interests and his likes. Okay, what's your? I know that there are so many mothers here that they really are not decided. if they will homeschool or not homeschool, and what they're gonna do, and if it is the right thing to do, if it is the right decision, and so many doubts and confusions about homeschooling. And as a mother, also, our well-being. And based on your experience and your thoughts, what can you encourage to the mothers out there? What's your
Um,
final advice for them?
so my best advice and my point of view and what I would say to anyone, who's like being drawn towards homeschooling or even, is just starting to think about it. Um, every family's different. Um, every kid is different. Every parenting style is different. And so that's why I find that homeschooling, you can choose, you have the freedom to choose. Um, and you also, you have the freedom to dive deep into different areas. You have the freedom to go and explore. You also don't have to pack lunches or wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's a bonus, and you can, yeah, and it just sort of allows for a lot of freedom. It allows for a lot of creativity, and it allows for a lot of fun and excitement you know, if you let it be that way. It's I think I find it's always our own fears and insecurities, and it's what we expect that our children should be doing or should be learning or what stage they should be at. Where I think if you really do some researching into the different schooling styles, and then you find one that kind of fits your life, if you just sort of let go, and you'll see, like, on the other side, it's sort of magical. The learning just kind of happens. Children want to learn, and they'll tell you what they want to learn about. And if you just follow that rabbit hole, and you just go wherever it takes you, and hit the library and find some cool YouTube videos and just kind of dig in together. I think, like I said, my best advice would be, if you're on the fence, um, you can do all the researching you want and still feel like you're not 100% capable, and nothing is ever going to be 100% perfect. Perfection isn't, the goal.
True.
The goal is that magic spot where they're engaged and it's something that they're interested in, and you're together and you're learning and you're having fun and you're creating. And I
Yeah.
think that if you just, if you take that chance and you dive in, I mean, you can always put them back in if it's not working. There's always that option. You never have to worry that, and I don't think, every mother wants their child to learn as much as they can and be as smart as they can and everything. And every child is good at something, um, and maybe not so good at other things. So that's why I feel like following the child lead and learning together, digging into those things that they're interested in, you'll see the magic happen. You'll see the excitement in their eyes of when they learn something that they are really impressed by. That's when you see it, and that's when you feel like, yes, that I'm doing the right thing. You know.
Yeah, you are right. You're really right. We have a question here before we wrap up everything. What are some activities I can do at home with my child to keep him away from the television and screens? You first.
So you could put out. It depends on their age. I like to put out, and a lot of homeschooling moms like to put out something we call loose parts, or um, we have strewn items. So, putting books around that might interest them, even in the bathroom or just in the living room, dining room, just kind of setting them up.
Yeah.
Maybe having like a bowl or a bucket full of like loose parts, like silk scarves and pine cones and nuts and bolts and just things that they can kind of, peg dolls or wooden rings, clothes pegs, things that they can just really get their imagination flowing with. Um, and just kind of, there's so many homeschooling groups that you could be a part of. There's so many cool ideas out there. But I mean, just even, go outside, take some sidewalk chalk and make, draw some hopscotch or, and as you're filling it in, ask them, oh, what number comes next? Or, go outside and just pick a whole bunch of flowers. And then when you get home, count how many purple ones you have and how many yellow ones you have. Or, um, just really, learning is everywhere. I mean, baking together, they're learning so many life skills and measurements, and really learning is everywhere. So, my best advice is to just turn it off and, either go outside or find something that that they're interested in, but sit with them and do it together. I think it's the connection that they're seeking more than anything, that will get them excited.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope that it helps our audience. So for me, when EJ is really drawn to television, so we go out and run. So it will be
Yes,
it will be gone from his mind. We go out in the front yard or backyard and we run. So when we run, we count in different languages. So his
yeah,
brain will be thinking that's why he can count now in 5 languages. That's what we do.
that's amazing. Yeah, just any little game like that. Like, you could pretend you're different animals and make animal noises, and one's the predator and one's the prey, and you could just have fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So the really the connections, bonding with your child, the time that you spend with your child, building memories, and that's teaching your child. We remember mothers that we are building a man, we're building a lady, a woman. Here we are, we are that model as well. So being there with them, teaching them is really, really vital, very, very significant. Thank you so much, Asha. Tell us about your business, and if it's really really interesting because it's really fun for kids play and those fairies. If we have audience right now that wants to avail with your services that are in Canada, how can they reach you? What services are you providing to your customers?
So unfortunately, right at this moment, because of the pandemic, we aren't currently operating, which is sad, but hopefully soon we'll be back up. But if you'd like to check me out, I'm at www.theslumberfairy.com or .ca. And also currently we are working on opening a glamping resort. So we're
Huh?
graduating to bigger tents.
Wow.
So if yeah, if you follow the space on Facebook for the Slumber Fairy or Instagram, then you'll see little sneak peeks of that too.
Oh, that's really exciting. Looking forward to see those activities. Okay. Uh, so the mommies, later we will send you the link. We will post the link on our Facebook group and you can check out their website. You can check out their Facebook page and maybe in the future you can avail the services and you can have fun with your kids. Thank you so much for your time. Even though it's morning there, I've learned a lot. I feel now very confident of what I am doing with EJ. The purpose of this Facebook group is to learn and to share, and hopefully we were able to help other mothers out there that have concern about this topic. Thank you so much for your time, for your effort, and for your wisdom that you have shared with us and for your experiences. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me, and you're so very welcome. Thanks
So,
everyone for
all right.
watching.
Yeah, to all our audience, leave us a comment. If you have other questions, we still get back to you, even if you will watch just the replay. Thank you so much, guys, and watch out and stay tuned for our next episode next Wednesday. Bye, mommies. God bless.